It's another episode of Around the Mage Table. This is episode 21, and I'm looking at the screen, and I feel like I can't even recognize half of y'all. Good good evening to y'all. I'll start with you, Technique. How you doing today, Technique?
Well, man. I'm glad to see everybody else here, too. Can't see you still. Gonna fix that one day. Yeah, glad to be back, man.
Good. And Scrapclaw, how are you doing today?
I'm good. You said you can't recognize me because of my pallid skin, my greasy hair. I've been hitting World of Warcraft really hard, man. I haven't left this room. Like, that's the difference.
How many Mountain Dews have you gone through?
Oh my god, I just cleared it off or I would show you, but I literally had a Diet Coke shrine, like from one end of the desk to the other. Just every day after work, I was like, gotta hit WoW. Like,
I'm going to talk about how envious I am of that in a little bit, but we'll get to that after we say hello to Shani. Shani, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Couldn't ask for a better Sunday.
Well, so I was going to try to elude the fact that we tell them what day we're recording this, but I'll go ahead and do it. So you're a big Bills fan. So for anyone out there that's watching this podcast that's a big NFL fan, Shani is the Bills fan of the group, and don't be afraid to give him hell in the comments about it. When they finally lose, you guys are undefeated, 1-0.
Yep.
How long does that last?
A few more. I mean, we'll definitely win on Thursday when we play the Dolphins.
Okay, coming after the Dolphins fan of the group, I see.
I mean, yeah, the Dolphins barely got past the Jags.
I use the word fans very loosely, by the way.
Yeah, this
Tyreek Hill got arrested on his way to the game today.
I know, just like that golfer.
Briefly arrested.
All right, well, before this becomes an NFL
detained.
podcast, let's go ahead and jump in, because last time you all and I met, we had an expansion launch on our hands, and it's been...
Some of us did.
3 weeks. Yeah, it's been 3 weeks, I think, since the official launch, give or take.
Nearly.
Yeah. So, War Within. What you think, man?
Yeah. Love it.
Let's move on.
Not that big of a deal. Okay, I'll start by saying this, and then I'll kick it off. I'll go to Technique first. I've seen reviews. They've officially launched the reviews for the game, and most of them are coming out 9 out of 10 with big glowing reviews. Technique, do you agree?
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah. I have little to complain about with the game right now.
Okay, so let's start.
Complaining all week. What the fuck?
No, hold on. We'll get to that.
A lot of my system.
Let's go. Let's go ahead.
He's fuzzy vibes now.
And say your favorite thing so far.
Geez, man. Favorite thing so far. I don't have to level anmore.
Okay,
that's great.
So that's done.
Yep. My warband is still just me. That's good.
We'll get to leveling in a second. Hold on. Scrap.
Yeah.
Your views.
Like a numerical?
Yeah, give it a score.
Rating? I'd probably give it an 8.7.
Okay.
I'm not gonna give it that 9.
I will say that there were some concerns that you had maybe on like day of launch, because you were complaining quite a bit to go.
Oh, I talked a mega shit as I was working my way through the story, but it had some shining moments. In fact, I would say probably my favorite part is some of the story moments. So cool. I definitely ate my hat on that one. We'll get into it, but I'm really pleasantly surprised. I talked a lot of shit leading up to this X-Pack, like so much shit. But I couldn't be happier to be mostly wrong.
Okay. Shani, what is your letter or score, the number score?
You know what? It's been, for me personally, 9.9 out of 10.
Ooh.
Okay, chill.
No, for me.
Okay, simping.
You notice how I said personally?
I know. I still had to comment.
You have been crushing a lot of WoW time, bro. You've been playing
crushing it the most.
Lot. I have, the most.
Yeah.
I have a problem. So I've loved it. I have no real complaint, just like funny observation complaints.
As far as I go, and granted, I've started very late. I didn't get to experience kind of that like initial everyone's going at the same time vibe that you guys did. I have no reason to score this any lower than what I've seen, because there's everything that about it is feeling great. But for some reason, I guess because I missed that experience, I don't feel as well as you guys might. So I'm going to say an 8. Like, it's definitely a great game. There's nothing that I could really complain about. But like, maybe just because I missed that hype train that everyone was like logging on at the same time and trying to get in and, ding first, whatever. So either way, go on.
There wasn't much of that really. It was everyone was doing their own thing, because part of it is like, hey, I want to experience a campaign story without, a group talking to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's that. But
So you were
also
actually interested in the story?
I always play the campaign, bro.
Okay.
I mean, I gotta pay attention to the campaign. But no, I wasn't.
Okay.
In one ear, out the other.
Yeah, it was. I thought the campaign was not super impressive, but I don't know what I expect how for it to be better either. So I don't have like a solution recommendation for that either. So no reason to bitch about it. But the experience certainly was a single player experience as far as I'm concerned, and that
For me
is
too.
that is kind of disheartening. That you get all the way from 70 to 80, and I literally didn't play with one other player at all.
That's because you didn't accept my request to join a party.
Yeah.
It's surprising too because like in this age of leveling, everything is kind of what is the word that they use? Like the levels will adjust based on whatever's the group going through, right? Like
Yeah.
So you could always just jump in, even if they're like on a different story. You could jump in and do dungeons. It doesn't sound like a lot of people were doing dungeons, despite the fact that it seems like now leveling alts dungeons is the fastest way to do it.
But there are so many quests to do. At no point was it hard to do quests, so it didn't feel like, oh my god, I gotta do dungeons.
Yeah. My gripe on that aspect is, it's never difficult to get in and do the questing and the leveling. And as a tank, it's never hard for me to get into a dungeon either. But it's kind of annoying that there's no need for it. That there's no
follow dungeons as well.
The game, the game is really geared toward the player that wants to play alone in an MMO, and it's kind of weird. But again, not super upset about it.
Do you think, I see Shani's face, do you think it's geared towards that, or do you think it just enables it, and so therefore, because everyone is playing at their own pace, it just happens?
100%.
No, the game is easier in every way to play by yourself during the leveling experience.
But again, distinction. Is it geared towards it? Is it pushing you in that direction?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No, it's not.
You be the tiebreaker.
Can I give a point on this, an opinion on this?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think you're right that it is easier. Like there's not like those quests that there were in Classic where it's like, oh, I need 3 people to kill Hogger or, stuff like that. True. But I will say the way the stories go lately, they're much denser. Like there's more cutscenes, there's more voice acting, there's just more stuff going on. And I don't want people to be talking to me when I'm reading a book,
Or like you're stuck in that video and the other players running off, flying away at 1,000,000 miles an hour.
I hate that, and Frank can attest to that. We've tried to level before. Is that I really take it slow. I see a treasure, I want to check it out, and so I think that it's not just that they're making it easier. I think also having the story be so prominent in the leveling process pushes people to do it alone, because it's I don't want you talking over when I'm trying to hear what this character is saying, or I don't want to be bullshitting about Sunday afternoon when I'm trying to figure out what's going on in Hallowfall, So that's why I wasn't in Discord for a week, I was chatting in the guild chat and stuff.
You would
just
leave after a week.
bullshitting.
You're like, okay, now I need to pay attention. Bye.
Yeah, no, and I engage with the story like it's a single player game, and I don't think it's just because they made it, you have to, but I think in a lot of places it's worth experiencing on a single player level. So I don't mind it, but I just wanted to give that perspective, is that it's not just that they made it easier, it's also that they made it more just denser, so harder to enjoy with multiple people.
Okay. Well, so let's talk about the story really quick, okay?
Sure.
We've got, what is this? I'm going to call it 6 chapters, okay? Let's not make this a 2-hour episode. So
I could easily.
I know you could. But I just want to get, your quick, oh man, I loved it, and this is why, or whatever, and, this is why I hated it. We'll start with Dalaran, since, just so everyone knows, spoilers if you haven't played it yet, okay? But this is officially out there. It's officially out there, so I'm not going to tag it as a spoiler.
If you haven't done the very first second of the
if you haven't walked into the expansion,
sorry.
Dalaran and what happens there. We knew this was going to happen if you had any inkling of what, they massively hinted at it in interviews and stuff. But just a quick recap. We get to Dalaran. We find out that one of the Council of 6 is really Xal'atath. She she convinces Khadgar to move Dalaran to what's the name of the Khazalgar. Is that it?
I want to say Broken Shore. I was like, that is so wrong. Yeah, Khazalgar.
And as soon as we do, Ilaria picks up that it's not the mage that is part of the 6. It's actually Xal'atath. She tries to stop the impending Nerubian attack. Of course, fails. And it ends with that shot of Khadgar firing the beam at Xal'atath, only for her to LOL and nuke. I mean, it was essentially a void nuke that goes off in Dalaran, and you see for a quick second Khadgar's arm like disintegrate. And we're assuming he's dead. Okay, so right there, we land on the Owl of Dorn, and we're kind of like just frantically freaking out as Dalaran is like in pieces all over the ground. But what did you guys think of that for an opening as an expansion?
I'll let them go first.
Sure, Shani?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was great.
On a list though. Wait, you hope he's dead?
100%.
Okay, Shani, I've got some bad news. I've got some bad news. We're going to spoil it for you in a little bit, okay?
Have you not done this quest this week?
No, I know he's not dead, but like I was like, I hope he's dead forever and ever. I want major characters to die off because I want the game to like grow and
go hard like HBO
ways.
took over. Yeah.
I would agree, but I don't feel like they've done a good enough job of building the backlog that we'd be missing.
Nobody would care if Khadgar died. Legit, nobody would be sad because you're a dork. Like nobody, literally, not even the characters gave a fuck.
It's because I'm a dad.
Dude, I even when I was doing this leveling quest, I was like, dude, literally nobody gives a fuck that Khadgar just died. Nobody's talking about it. Angel's talking about
Illyria. All Illyria was doing was looking for vengeance on Khadgar.
Dude, she just wanted to fuck with Xal'atath. Like
that too.
It was just vengeance in general. She wasn't like, dude, this is for Khadgar. She may have said it like twice, but her heart wasn't in it. It was kind of shocking how little people gave a fuck about Khadgar dying. And I think they understood. People don't care. They don't care. So you gotta kill somebody else.
Is that your criticism of the opening then, Scrap?
I thought the opening was okay. It's very Marvel Cinematic Universe, like very cheap surprises,
Well, and they weren't even surprises though, really.
But yeah, they weren't really. It was fine. It was okay. It's a good enough reason as any to strand us in the middle of fucking nowhere. I won't put too much judgment on that because I know they want to get you in fast and say like, here you are. Okay, figure it out. I don't have much to say about it. Do I love it? No. I think the shining moments of the story are way later. We'll talk about that later. But like the opening, I was having
you were already on your
coming in. Yeah, and that was not convincing me.
It was. Honestly, it sounded like it was pushing you in a different direction of saying, "Yep, this is exactly what I thought."
Until I saw Xal'atath's feet, and we are gonna go here.
Oh my god!
I did not shut up about this.
And who didn't see her feet?
Dude, I no,
didn't even notice them.
You did. Everybody saw it. Okay,
I didn't. I was.
Okay, whatever.
I don't remember seeing it at the start. I don't remember seeing it.
His feet invisible. So can I just say, this is how it happened for me, right?
I just don't have a fetish.
We've seen Xal'atath before the patch in like promotional material. Like she's going to people's streams, blah, blah, blah. Here's a picture of her. Here's her in the spider cinematic, whatever the fuck. They wait until the very opening cinematic of like her, with Khadgar to show us that she is got no fucking shoes on. And it is so jarring to me, and I was
she floats everywhere. Why would she need to be
her
shoes?
Feet in there? What? Why wouldn't you have shoes? She's got a whole fucking get up. She's got a thing. She's covered in clothes.
Maybe she's got sweaty feet.
Wait.
Okay, let's go ahead and bookmark this chapter as Xal'atath's
I cannot.
It's gone from Dalaran to the feet
for 2 hours. I
wait
really
1 second.
Can't.
You're gonna talk about why she doesn't have feet coverings when we play a game where like most of the female armor is barely covering them, and you're like stuck on she just doesn't have her feet covered. Like your hooves aren't covered.
Yeah, but I got hooves. Those are natural shoes.
Yeah, hooves aren't natural shoes.
Hooves are natural shoes. There is no elf in the entire fucking rest of the setting who runs around barefoot. I don't know.
Okay,
like
I'm gonna have to Google that.
Character.
Hold on.
That's not true. There's tons of like elf,
I was gonna say.
like whatever.
What if Illyria doesn't have shoes either? Let's find out.
She takes her shoes off just to match, go toe to toe, literally.
Toe to toe. So wait. Can I just the payoff of like, oh my god, did you guys see that she had no shoes on? That was the most shocking thing about the Dalaran thing to me.
Okay.
And
Technique. What did you think of her feet?
It was paid off immensely.
I loved them, man. She's actually. I mean, when you actually look at the feet, and I don't have a fetish. I might grow into it though. I like they're
she's
purple.
your, what's
She has
the
toe rings on, dude.
People who are delusional are gonna be like, dude, why is everybody talking about her feet? She's just got feet. You don't
Yeah.
get it.
So wait,
I'm
Scrap,
sorry. The
are you
feet
are
are
you happy?
insane.
Are you happy that they're there, or are you upset that they're
They
there?
bring me a lot of joy. It's very
Okay.
funny that somebody got away with like fetish highway robbery sticking her
Do you
feet in
think-
your
You're gonna
face
get-
every cutscene.
There's just gonna be feet pictures in the
That's-
comments of this now
So-
for Scrap.
Like, I want you to put
It's-
Oh, I will.
edit this in the payoff at the end of the story
yep.
where they literally frame Illyria between both of her fucking bare feet. I literally gasped.
Didn't even
I
notice.
was like, girl, you did not.
I
Like,
only noticed.
whoever-
I only noticed it because everyone on Twitter was
shot.
losing their mind about it.
That's the thing is I'm not on Twitter. I'm only talking to you guys. And I was like, how is nobody else this insane about it? And then you guys started posting memes. I was like, thank God. I feel like I'm losing my
Wait.
fucking mind.
You say you
I
guys.
can't
It was
believe-
one person posted like 85 memes. Like
Yeah,
it was IO
I
posted
appreciate
like a
my
billion
meme
feet.
warriors. Dude, much
I always got your
appreciation.
back.
to
Mind
IO.
you,
And your
He's
front.
got my back on the memes.
the whole time I'm sitting in Toronto watching this unfold, and I'm just like, what in the fuck is happening? So my follow-up question to this is, now that there's been this obvious, whole meme of feet, do they lean in even further?
They have to lean into it. They
hope
have
so.
to lean into it. Please. I would please. I think it's the
All right,
funniest
Debs,
thing.
hear it from us, the 99%. We want the feet, more feet.
In an opening section where I was excited because I was playing WoW and stuff, but I was basically like, this is boring, let me see some cool stuff. And then they show me her
You
feet
see
and
some cool
instant
feet.
joy.
Instant erection.
joy. Just pure, just like,
She's like, I don't like
good
feet
old
like that."
fashioned happiness.
She's fanning herself on, oh my.
It is the funniest. I'm sorry. I love all y'all
All right.
people out there with foot fetishes, but it's just
That's
funny.
all the time I'm
I love
devoting
it.
to feet. 5 minutes. That's
It's
all you
gonna
get.
come back
All right, can we move on? From,
into the foot talk. I've got it mostly out of my system.
Don't
If it
worry,
comes
the
back up
feet
again,
are in
I'm
the next
sorry.
part too.
Here's the thing.
so-
Dalaran was, I
done
think,
with the feet.
impactful. It was like cinematic. I think you said MCU-ish. I don't know what
Yeah,
that fully means.
I'm
but
not big into MCU vibes, so
I'm not sure what that means though. But
you know what I mean.
but
You
like,
don't. You like all
it's
that
not on
shit.
the same
I'm
level.
not
Like
into
I
it.
feel like the Warlords of Draenor opening felt very epic, right? The one where you're running with Khadgar
Yeah.
through and you're like escaping all the major factions.
Yeah, when I liked.
So it's not
Khadgar.
as good as that, but like even the Legion opening, which Legion was a great expansion, just didn't feel
Yeah,
that
Legion.
great.
What?
You-
Yeah, I thought Legion opening was cool.
Eh.
Okay,
Anyway.
okay.
All right.
We have different feelings.
Isle
I'm
of
just saying.
Dorn.
Yeah, Isle of Dorn. What about
Okay.
it?
So
It's
Scrap,
not Island.
you kick us off this one. So let's give a quick recap
mean,
of Isle of Dorn because
Can I blur Isle of
Yes.
Dorn and Bringing Deeps? Because I think a lot of people in their mind kind of put those together. And I think in the interest of time, unless somebody wants to separate those two, I had like very similar feeling about them, and the stories kind of blended together.
No,
for
so
me.
the Isle of Dorn was about the councils, right? The council four or
Okay,
whatever.
you want to get specific.
Yeah, like that's what you're trying to do. Is you're trying to bring the four of them together. And there's also
Right.
the Storm Riders, which is a big part of it. And then the Ringing Deeps was about what's her name? I can't remember her name, but the
Brinth.
Dr. Octopus, right? Brinth.
Yeah, Brent, you don't even
about
remember her name.
her- yeah,
Respect on that.
Well, and I'm not good with names. But
I'm not gonna
the whole story is about her trying to turn on the machine and finding out that Eirik or whatever his name is.
Yeah, but I feel like Ringing Deeps tied together the Isle of Dorn story.
it leaned
of
into
that,
it very
like, we're
quickly.
bringing-
Yes, yeah.
I feel like it really felt like it was one story. I don't think there was like significant
Alright,
separation
fine.
like there is between.
We won't
well, I
separate
just-
them. Fine.
Okay, we can spend more time arguing about the separation, but I think I don't think the Dorn story felt very complete. You tie in all the Ringing Deep stuff, and I feel like
So
you
do
got
that.
more of a pie here, pizza
Okay.
pie. Okay,
Which, by the way,
what was the
okay,
question?
pizza pie cut into pieces.
What was the question? How did I like it?
What were your thoughts? Just give us your overall thoughts.
By the end of Ringing Deeps, that's when I was talking the most mad shit because I felt like the Earth and stuff was fine. There was a lot of shining moments in the side quests. I have completed all the side quests and stuff, and I think that's typical that a lot of the gems are kind of like off to the side, and they kind of just shovel, the main story. They just give you the kind of like beats, right? The big beats. You get the cutscenes, whatever. Characters, get to know them. By the end of Ringing Deeps, I was like, dude, this expansion sucks ass. I've done like 5 quests.
You were halfway
just
through.
kill-
You were halfway through.
I know
Yeah.
I was. I had like just gotten to Hallowfall when I started talking shit. But like literally there's like 5 quests up to that point, like to the beginning of Hallowfall, that are literally kill 12 Nerubians. And it was like literally the opening of this is like, hey, there's Nerubians over there. We gotta kill them. It's like these Nerubians are attacking us here. Oh, we have to help get the Griffins out so we can fight Nerubians. Like we gotta do this to fight Nerubians. I'm like, dude, I have no fucking
Are you
clue.
talking about
Like
the Ringing Deeps?
I'm talking about more Isle of Dorn.
Oh,
I know
okay,
now I'm
okay, okay.
separating them. No, literally the Isle of Dorn story. Like that's why I have to give it Rain Deeps because it was
Yeah,
nothing.
okay,
It was
fair enough,
literally
fair
like,
enough.
Nerubians
Dorn
are
felt a
attacking
little,
us.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and it's like move this rebel because of the Nerubians that attacked us, and do this because there was not a lot of layers to that story. And at that point, you don't know the antagonist. You're just like, why are Nerubians attacking them? Well, because they're evil, mean spiders. Like, duh, you fucking idiot. Like,
Well, no,
there's
but that's the point,
yeah.
though. That's the overall story's
I
point.
know, but it was so
Azj'Kahet's
long.
really big about that, right?
It
Azj'Kahet
was very
fantastic.
redundant.
It was
The
redundant,
quests-
highly redundant.
Okay.
The quests in that section were super, like Scrap said, and we
Typical.
both bitched about it while leveling. It was just
I
like,
knew
what is
somebody-
happening? I'm just go here,
Yeah.
kill spiders. Go there, kill spiders.
Yeah.
You didn't
Um,
like the brewery quest where you blew up the
It was
pegs?
okay. It was
The,
okay. It
the
was
owner the whole time's
fun.
like, please don't do this.
Like I said, there's little shining moments, but I was looking at the whole thing and I was
Yeah.
like, I was really not feeling it. I will say the zones are very beautiful, but Isle of Dorn and Ringing Deeps are nothing too new. I love the weather effects in Isle of Dorn. I was surprised by that. I didn't know they added these kind of like new storm effects and stuff. And the first time it like rained on me, I was like fishing. I was like, what the hell is happening? Like it was so, and it's very beautiful. The music is stunning. I will
Yeah.
give it that. The music is fantastic. The
10
voice
out of
acting
10
is great.
soundtrack.
Just to open with Isle of Dorn, it's not a, you know, it's there's not a lot of
Well-
fireworks there.
well, it's
just
better
like
to
dwarves are
end
killing
on-
spiders.
Better
I
end on
agree
fireworks
because
than-
my opinion is very high of the expansion because it got better.
Yeah.
But yeah, Isle of Dorn and Ringing Deeps. You'd be hard pressed to find somebody who was like, Ringing Deeps is my favorite zone.
Okay.
Like,
Scrap,
I don't
let's
think
let
you'll find
Shawnee talk
anybody.
for a minute.
of course, I'd love to hear
Shawnee,
Shawnee
what did
talk
you think about
it.
Bryn's feet?
Didn't even notice them, so I don't
notice
care.
Bryn's feet, so
I'm not a big foot person at all. I'm never.
That's not what you told me.
Well,
joking.
you know, your feet are
I've
different
been
when you're
sending
working
you
those
pics for
pedals.
months.
Well, I know that Shawnee really likes the whole thing, so I kind of want to hear
Yeah.
him defend Isle of Dorn and stuff. Like, why were they great? Tell me what was great about it.
I played it slightly different because a lot of people went through and did like the main story and then did the side quests, where I just did zone by zone, and I think I enjoyed it because I didn't just focus on the main story. So each of them, for me, the experience was like the whole zone as a whole at one time, where yeah, I enjoyed the whole zone as a zone at one time. I wanted to do more quests. When the quests were done in the zone, I was like kind of sad. I'm like, oh, there's no more, even though there was a ton of them, which brought me a lot of joy. So yeah, I wouldn't say there's like a particular like story moment. I'm old. I can't remember stuff like Scrap, where she's like, I remember this person's big toe slipping out at like 5 minutes into
Dude,
this
if her big
cutscene.
toe slipped out of her toe ring, I would lose my mind. I would lose my mind.
She doesn't look
for
like she's
me, I
happy
thought-
about it, but she keeps saying how much she is enjoying it.
It's so funny.
I thought the zones, I mean, the first two that we're talking about, I like them. They felt very different in like aesthetic and look for me. And I just felt like all the quests like went like smooth into each other. I didn't feel like I was flying back and forth between
I
like
kinda
Narnia
disagree.
to Narnia. Okay, I know you're gonna with everything I say.
Well, okay,
Until we get to the next
you're
zone.
laying something down specific, like the quests blend together. I felt like Ringing Deeps was like the most disjointed zone.
I just went to an area and picked up every quest and did it.
The whole zone started by saying we have 3 problems and we need to solve those 3 problems. You didn't like Magni and his grandson. What's his name?
I can't remember what his fucking name is. I like him. Yeah, I like the character.
I thought that was a good
I like his
quest. It felt
mom.
very, very like moody, right? Like there was this like good
That was-
atmosphere to it.
Wasn't that main story content though?
Yeah, but it was Ringing Deeps.
No, but he was saying that he liked how tied together all the side quests were with the main quests, and I don't think
like
that
in
was
this
the case
for
Ringing
me.
Deeps.
What I mean is like I didn't have to like go to town A and they'd send me to like area B and I'd be there and do stuff and they're like,
I mean,
now
you
go
like
back
the
to A.
efficiency of
Now
it.
go
I
to
guess
C.
that's
Yeah,
that's
I
not what
felt
I
like everything.
grade it by, but
Oh well.
I mean, when
So
has
it
WoW
depends.
really not been about town efficiency lately?
I will agree. I liked the town efficiency was necessary again in this, because there were so many side quests. It was kind of like, oh, when I'm there,
also
I'll
hard
pick
to
up this, and I can turn in these 5 things or whatever. That's something I do miss in Classic, and they kind of gave that back to us a little bit. But I was just sorry. My cohesive critique was on the story, where it's just like, oh, like down there, the goblins are just like setting up a spa, but it's
I
like
love-
you know,
love
it's
that
like
they are.
a front
They
for
got
a
there and they're like,
mining thing.
well, they just reminded me of someone who's like, we got here, we don't have Renata go out, so we're gonna make the best of it. So
I will say the goblin story and Azj'Kahet. How do you pronounce that? The spider zone?
Azj'Kahet, I think.
Azj'Kahet. Okay, people are
AK-47.
gonna call me out in the comments or whatever. But like the goblin story of like, oh yeah, there's just like Venture Co down here. It's like, why are they not? It's like they dug too deep. You know, I was like, yeah, that's
That's funny.
Venture
Like,
Co.
it's like
Yeah.
like Kirby Enthusiasm-esque, you know, like
No,
they
it
just
was,
bum
yeah.
bum. Oh, we're in the cave.
I guess I won't harp on that too much. I just felt like, as far as side quests being tied in, Isle of Dorn I thought was pretty well integrated. Like we get an idea of like the earth and culture from all these different angles, but Raining Deeps just felt kind of, I don't know. I thought Raining Deeps is definitely the weakest zone. It's just so big and it's so. Bleh.
All right, technique. Why don't you kick us off for Hallowfall?
oh,
Yeah, I leveled through there. I did the campaign. I do definitely love the zone there. Like it's beautiful, and the whole idea of this star thing, whatever they call it, being near the
Baladar.
ceiling.
Baladar,
Yeah, that. I thought it was really cool. Definitely unique story. Definitely some unique characters in there, and I did the campaign and I moved on. That's
You didn't
about
do any side
my
quests?
capacity for it. Nah.
Did
I
you-
think I'm
so-
like renowned 4 and everything.
So, question for you then, because like if you just done the quests, the main quests, the rumor was you'd only hit like level 76. What did you do to fill in those last 4 levels?
I think I did pick up mining and blacksmithing, so that adds a little bit of XP, surprisingly more XP than you might think. And then dungeons at the tail end, pretty much grinded dungeons to hit 80.
Okay. All right. So for the most part, though, you love the aesthetics. Does anything from the story stand out to you, or are you just like, yep, it was another story, and I kind of just half read it?
Yeah. For me, I was kind of brain dead grinding the campaign, man. I wasn't paying too much attention. That's kind of how
Well, then I'll hand it back.
I've been
to
saying I
Shani.
would do it. Yeah. Tell me actually. Tell me what I missed on Hallowfall.
Shani, do you want to recap it real quick?
no, I don't, because I'll get it all jumbled up in my head with side
I can
quests.
remember that we follow Anduin and he's having a hard time with the fact that he's not with the light anymore, right?
Yep.
And what's her name with the one arm gone? Fiona.
Farron.
Farona. Okay, Farron.
My future wife.
She's like,
Andrew's future wave. Back off.
super
don't
bringing
have a
him back
chance.
to the light, and that was kind of cool,
Well, and the whole story navigates, because obviously that like on the surface is it, but like the whole story navigates the idea that he's being introduced to the zone in the first place, Anduin is. And he's like, wow, the light, and oh my god, look how you're all surviving down here. And he asks questions about the Wrath of the Empire and all this. And then all of a sudden, the Nerubians start attacking, and then the crystal goes shadow, right? The crystal goes shadowy,
Nerubian.
and he has to help, help Faerun kind of get things back under control. And it ends with them like taking the fight down to Azj'Kahet with not the Dawnbreaker, but like ship just like the Dawnbreaker, and then it gets like caught in a web. And
I love flying by that, and it's still tangled up in that web. It's such a cool set piece.
Well, and it was also honestly was probably the biggest thing that stood out to me was like, what a great way to just like integrate into the next zone of like this domino that falls one into the other.
The integration between Raining Deeps and Hallowfall sucked. It was just
just Anduin like, hey, I hear this zone. It's great.
Yeah, it's like that's when I started talking shit. I was like, what fucking is this? Like, there's literally the integration was like, hey, we haven't seen Andrew in a while. What's he doing? Andrew's like, I just walked around the corner. There's this whole thing over here. Like, it was like,
by the way, big gaping door right next to the city.
Yeah, there's this huge door right next to the door you flew down in. By the way, the thing that we said was never going to be repaired, and then it's suddenly like instantly repaired.
There's a bit of that like throughout the story that I've noticed.
The Hallowfall to Azj'Kahet.
Don't worry, Scrap won't let you tell us technically.
Story from that point to the end, the best. Okay. One of the
Chef's
best.
Kiss. Technique, what were you saying?
Let Shawnee recap it.
I was gonna say there's a lot of that where in the story in the campaign it's like all of a sudden you turn around and there's the hero and it's like, where the fuck did they come from and how did they know to be here? And there's just some of that throughout the story, like as far as like the campaign, like Anduin pops in. Okay, well, interesting. How? Why?
I know.
And then-
Everybody talks.
Where were you
sorry,
while we were
go
dealing
on.
with this?
Yeah.
Everybody talks a lot of shit about Shadowlands had like such a bad story, but the leveling story of Shadowlands had like such perfect like seeds to go from like one piece to the next. And I think that's like kind of the standard they should hold like stories to, where it's like, dude, there's like this big mystery and you're kind of being naturally led from one point to the next. This one was kind of like, this is what the world is. There's a bunch of stuff here and I guess go check it out, bro. Like
I don't know if it was like that, but okay, I get your point.
oh, definitely. Okay, definitely between Ringing Deeps and Hallowfall it was. Like,
Yes, I will give you that. That I will concede.
let Shawnee talk about Hallowfall.
Shawnee.
Go.
I love it so very much. I want Farron to marry me. I'm gonna have to leave my wife. I want my character. Honestly, if they came out and said you can like, get one arm off and have a shield, I would
same.
switch to a tank in a second. As a paladin, I felt like the whole zone was just, they were like, hey, you're a pally and you enjoy the light and everything that is. Here's a whole zone for you. Like, I wish that's where we started. I wish I could live there. I want to get Renown 25 so bad so I can change my title to Lightbringer. Like,
Yeah.
That is a good
every-
It should allow you to amputate your arm if you hit 25 renown.
yeah, right?
For you,
Just take
Farron.
my arm off the shield. Yeah.
And I really thought the story of Farron.
They should
and
require you to amputate your arm to get 25 renown.
I liked the story of Farron and Anduin, and I liked that. Yeah, just watching it. And what I like the most about the zone is I was playing through it and thinking it was amazing, and Scrap was a bit behind me, and she's just like, this expansion story is dog shit. And I'm like sitting there just baffled. I'm like, how do you not love this? I love this so much. And then I'm like, have you got to the third zone? And she's like, no. And I'm like, I can't wait to hear what she has to say. And she got to the third zone. She's like, oh my God. And I was like, I feel you, queen.
I was very humble. I instantly said I was so wrong. I can't believe I'm eating this much, like putting my foot in my mouth this much. Like I was so wrong. It was so good.
Yeah,
I'm with you,
Hallowfall.
Shawnee.
Yeah.
Hallowfall, I think, easily top 5 most iconic WoW zones. It's super fucking unique. There's nothing like it. Like, totally underground, airships everywhere. It's the only place I pick my herbs and get my ore. Like, and the story was fucking fantastic too. Yeah.
There's some good side quests too, like that little girl whose family.
Oh,
had
the orphan
died.
girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a cute one. I will say, I just want to shout out.
Oh, the girl whose family died? Oh, yeah, so cute.
So cute how she was
didn't do
mourning
it.
them.
Technique, it's super cute. You didn't fucking do it, but you're gonna do
Yeah,
it.
I
You're gonna be
didn't
like,
do
oh,
it.
that's cute. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love that one. I want to shout out like the part that my favorite cutscene, and I just want people to be like, yeah, that was it. Is that brings the story together so nicely? Is when Farron is trying to get the lighthouse back online, and Anduin, he's in his feelings. He's having a tough time. He's like, the light isn't with me. It's not cool. And then she holds his hand, and then they're able to light the lighthouse, and he's looking down. He's like, oh my God, like I just need some help. Like, such a good fucking story. Like,
God, what a baby.
And it was so soft. It was so soft spoken.
It was not. Yeah, it was soft spoken.
It like
wasn't
didn't hit us over the head with it, It
wasn't MCU, and that's what I loved about it. But the best part is that the end of that cutscene is it pans down to Illyria, who's outside. She's looking up because she's not at that point yet. She doesn't understand that she needs help yet. She still thinks
the
she can
literary
fight the shadow alone. See, this is the shit I love. I like reading books and all this gay shit, right?
You sound like Taliesin right now. By the way, gay shit. We don't condone that.
Okay, whatever. I'm LGBT. I can say that. But I'm saying that from someone else's perspective. But I love that stuff so much. Like,
so
it was fucking
top
good.
5. I mean, honestly, like top 3 easily. I think still.
It is 100% my favorite.
Top 5 cutscenes, top 5 zones. I can't even think of a
Ford
zone
is still
I
my
like better.
favorite, but Hallowfall
Howling Ford
is
is up there. It's a great zone, but I mean, they've tried to do Howling Ford like 10 times. I feel like at this point.
I think I would say even if I wasn't maining a pally and I'd gone and done that zone, probably would have switched to a pally. It was that
if you like the human pally aesthetic, if that's your shit, dude, you're a pig in shit. It's the best thing ever.
That's me. I am
even one of the dungeons has an area where if you're a paladin, you just get to walk up and go, oh, and the whole group gets like a buff.
Is that so?
Yeah.
That's
Azj'Kahet. What do you guys think? So this is the only zone because I've leveled my mage and I leveled my paladin and I did all the side quests while leveling those two. I've not done Azj'Kahet, and Azj'Kahet also, in my opinion, has the shortest of the stories.
Oh, for sure.
So I'll let you guys speak more on this. Scrap, you want to kick us off?
I definitely can. I think Azj'Kahet probably story-wise was my favorite zone. Like, I think Hallowfall is just like so iconic. But as far as like the content of like, because this is what I really wanted, and I said this before the expansion dropped, is like I really don't want them to make Nerubians just like ew scary spiders, because it's like that's always the role they fall into just because of how they've been positioned in the stories in the past, like in Wrath Lich King and stuff. But like they're not just like evil spiders, dude. They just are spiders, and that's scary and icky, right? Like, so I was. Or crabs, right? So I was just like overjoyed that they went and drilled that into your head that like, hey, like a lot of these like spiders, like a lot of these citizens here, they don't like what's happening up top. That's a pretty relatable story, honestly, you know? And I like getting to see like these kind of more humanizing moments of like these spider characters, and there's a lot of really unique ones. The
Fighting for their
aesthetic
queen.
is yes, loved it. I love the Weaver. She's super cool. Yeah, but like aesthetically, so fucking cool. All the cities like flying through that. It's a great zone, and it makes me think, dude, why isn't the tier sets better? Because you have this amazing Nerubian.
They had the intern work on the tier sets.
They really did. I won't go back to it again, but like I can't just completely like suck them off. Like they fucked some things up, up completely. Like, and one of those things is still the tier sets. They should be mega Nerubian, like, and they just completely dropped the ball.
Scrap. I gotta bring Technique in on this because he's currently laying down like his dogs in the back. So
yeah. Wait, let me finish. Let me just close.
I'm
Close
relaxed, man. I'm relaxed.
The things I was surprised by, there are a lot of side quests in there. The girl, I can't remember her name. Orwenna, the troll lady.
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
half troll, half.
Yeah.
Like she's like in the opening cutscene, and in the main story, she's just like, "Hey, what up?" and gone. Like
We'll help you,
it's
but
just-
we're gone. Bye.
That was shocking to me. There's a little bit more in the side quests, not a ton. I get she's supposed to be like secretive and
Well,
whatever.
she's supposed to be a big
like,
part of the next patch.
I was really looking forward to like, ooh, she's so cool. What's her deal? She's awesome. She was just back. She's like, hey, what up, bye? Like, so I'm looking forward.
Well,
to
she
more
saved
about
all
that.
our lives right at the start of it, right?
Okay, well, get in line. Everybody does that. Like, like I
Get
saved
in line to
everybody's
be
lives
saved
when it was over.
constantly.
Yeah, you don't see me bragging about it all the time.
Fair enough.
Like,
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Shawnee, anything you want to add to Azj'Kahet?
I like it. 100%. I can't say it right, so I just call it AK-47.
Azj'Kahet, I gotta learn it.
Yeah. And I know. I think it's a good zone. I like that you can fly into like the floating spider web mines and it knocks you out of there.
Oh, I hate that part. Actually,
Yeah, when that happened, I was like, that sucks, but that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I thought it. Yeah, like
No,
I
I'm
dislike
over
it, but like that it's there. Yeah, I thought it was great. I enjoy it.
Technique?
I
Anything
don't-
else?
Yeah, man. It kind of the vibe kind of feels a little bit like Undercity down there, which was cool.
Yeah.
As far as like getting through the town and getting around, I can vibe with everything that Scrap was going at about. Let's humanize our crab buddies down there. But otherwise, I mean, I can't imagine playing this expansion with crabs on. That whole zone is just crabby.
I know.
Why?
I kind of want to do it just to check it out for a day.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. But yeah, I mean, I'm probably not the best person to speak on the story because I didn't follow it.
But of what you did follow,
renowned,
were you
level
like,
4.
okay, this is all right?
Sure. Yeah. It wasn't like
This is the average
story
WoW
sucks
player,
or
by
anything.
the way.
No,
Like,
I don't think
he's just
so.
like, eh,
Because
I think so.
based on what, and granted, maybe Twitter isn't necessarily the pulse of that, but like everyone on Twitter was like, holy shit, this story is amazing.
Yeah, but people who aren't paying attention to the story aren't going on Twitter.
No, I think that people like Technique, would it be uncommon or unfair for you to say that you would get on
tweet about this?
No, because he doesn't tweet anymore because he said some things and some
banned.
stuff and he got banned.
It's because he's on
Not true
like
either.
Truth Social now or whatever.
No,
Yeah,
don't
tweet
start,
anyway.
don't
You
start,
truth
don't
about
start.
it?
No, I'm not.
He's got a little
I know you're
smirk right
not.
now, like, no, I'm not. All right, anyways. Okay, Azj'Kahet. The max level campaigns then kick off as soon as you are round 4 for everyone. And it starts, I'm going to quickly summarize this. starts in Isle of Dorn with the Storm Riders being reformed, right? Which I don't think the start of the story was that great, but like it had really good quests kind of making you feel like, oh, I'm a part of this too. And then you had the quest move down to, I think, the Ringing Deeps, where you retake over the Golem factory. Is that right?
Yep.
Then you go down to Azj'Kahet to find out, like, well, what is she up to? What is Queen Anserict and Xal'atath up to? To which you discover that they're going to be attacking Hallowfall because, like, the city's empty. And I think that's where you meet Queen Anserict, right? That's where you see the old Queen, or not Queen Anserict, Queen.
It's a reveal.
Whatever, her old
Nesseretti or something.
Yeah. The old queen that was killed. And you save her. And then the final campaign, which just came out this week, was the fight in Hallowfall, and then the realization that Khadgar speaks to Illyria. Spoilers. And she realizes that this is all a ruse to get as much shadow energy flowing as possible. Can someone explain to me the black blood thing? Like in that cinematic, she sees the ground.
Well, you're probably going to get more into it in the side quests when you do them, because Orwenna's story is a lot about that. But I thought the black blood was like old god business. Is that correct?
Makes sense. That makes sense. But like, why is it on? Like, how does she? Oh, it's all over the ground. What does that mean?
I thought that the black blood like causes people to see crazy visions and like attack each other and be erratic and just generic like old god type business. You know, hearing voices and getting corrupted, I guess. So I'm thinking that they're like Xal'atath like set up everybody to fight and like hate each other because there's all this black blood everywhere. And she's realizing like, oh my god, she's trying to distract us like by fighting each other when we should be like figuring out what she's doing. I don't know what she was doing. I don't know if that was clear yet.
Yeah.
I think she was doing a big portal, try to get an octopus through or something.
No.
Like,
so I think she wanted. I think what it was is like it's feeding off of our chaos. Like the fact she said she speaks a lot about how not humans but what like mortals. That's what she said. Mortals are like the most the chaotic beings and that they always are fighting and yada yada yada. And I think that she started this war because that would feed that. I
think that's an accurate assessment, and I definitely think when you do like Orwenna's quest with the black blood, you're gonna get you're gonna be vindicated with that.
But like so we're leaning into then the final part of the story. Illyria realizes, oh, this isn't the fight. The fight is Xal'atath. She's using this opportunity. I don't know if she was siphoning off of Belladar in the shadow form.
Yeah, I don't really know how Belladar
because it seems like she's siphoning energy and magic into that what the hell's that? Not the Eye of the Dragon, but like the whatever Eye of Darkness, the opposite of the Eye of Dragon. And then Illyria's like, oh, that's what she's doing, and so she takes aim. That really cool, always in these movies, like I wasn't aiming for you.
Again, MCU.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say MCU. And then hits the trinket, I guess destroying it. So that's not gonna play as big of a deal.
I gotta interject, man, because I actually do have something to say about this cinematic. Okay, all that came on really abruptly for me. It was like, all of a sudden Illyria has like an aha moment and is like, hey, I gotta go. And we talked about this, Frank, where husband Terrarion or whatever his name is like, I got you, babe. Let's do this. And she's like, no, sweetie, you stay here and do this. And then all of a sudden looks over her shoulder and like her whole crew of boyfriends is right there. And all the boyfriends come to help and not the husband.
Why does this story turn into a synth story about her husband, who is, by the way, this is the point I made to you. He is the de facto leader of the Alliance at the moment, right?
Okay.
They brought the Alliance and the Horde. No, because first off, Illyria doesn't know.
Don't you think
she's going off a hunch?
Xal'atath's the problem?
Yes, but again, Illyria doesn't know for a fact. If she pulls the leader of the Alliance army off the battlefield and she's wrong, she loses everything. Whereas they can continue the fight, right?
So she takes herself and all the heroes plus her boyfriend.
She takes just, I thought, Anduin
to go fight Xal'atath.
That's it.
Hold on.
Right. Okay. No, hang on. We got to finish this thought because then she gets there. She gets there. She waves around her little medallion. Okay. Amulet.
Xal'atath does.
Xal'atath does.
Right.
Yeah.
Xal'atath waves the amulet. And she says, "Oh, I wasn't aiming at you." And bazinga, shoots an arrow at the amulet. And why didn't Xal'atath use the same like wizardry that she did the first time? The arrow tried in
This is a Marvel
scene
movie.
one. In scene one, where she just waved it off as if, you know, the arrow had zero existence.
Because
But
the bad guys have to lose after the zinger. That's how it works.
Yeah, you gotta drop the John McCain
and then
John
what? We
McClane.
have-
McCain, what?
John McClane,
I was
we
like,
have
John, when did
Khadgar,
John
the
McCain
one-liner,
say a zinger?
and then pull the gun from
One-liner,
behind your
yes.
back.
John McClane. Okay, yes.
So I'm still a little confused on like, so what happened to Xal'atath there? Is she now in the broken amulet?
No,
and
no.
poofed out from
So-
her bird form.
No, she
and
just
be-
bailed.
It's a great
Yeah.
question. It's a great question. I think that's fair to
question, yeah.
ask. I think what happened is, you ever see that Marvel, the X-Men First Class with the bad guy who can like absorb
yeah.
all the energy?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that's what's like she blew up the trinket and there's an immense amount of shadow energy, which was she was storing,
Conduit,
right?
yeah.
Conduit, right? And so she's like, "You son of a bee," and then like tries to contain it all, but disappears because she's like, "Well, that sucks. I've been foiled, right?" And when
Yeah.
that magic is released, everything that was taken, so Khadgar being, I don't know why only Khadgar, but let's just leave it at that for that moment. Khadgar is freed from it, and he lands and crashes onto the floor, dying, right?
That was the worst thing that happened to him was the fall to the floor there.
It probably broke his hip.
And that's what, when he,
Do you think it was
almost
because,
died.
by the way, he was a bird at the moment, so I don't think it was that heavy.
yeah, oh, okay, right. He
Okay,
fell as a
okay.
bird,
Turtle
Why are
bones.
we getting so
turned into a
technical about
human
this
bird, and then
fantasy
became,
story?
that's right, that's how it worked, yeah.
Okay.
I don't like when people get technical about like
Well, and just
really
like
fantastical
just
bullshit,
let it.
like,
Yeah, we
anyway,
just
babe.
you
Like
saw him
wearing
turn from a
shoes or
bird
not
to a
wearing
man,
shoes.
and
Feet
that's
is
the part you
important.
hung up on is that he
So-
fell on his shoulder.
So I have
On
another
his
question.
shoulder.
Has Anduin ever had a girlfriend? Do we know?
No, he hasn't. That's why I think they're setting up Farron
Do
to
we
be
think-
like
Do we
I thought
think
Sylvanas and him
Anduin
had a little thing going.
and Khadgar are going to be boys?
are gonna be boys.
You saw that smirk when he rezzed him. He's like,
Oh
oh
my
my god.
Oh my god.
I don't know.
Oh my god.
I don't even know how to respond to
He
that.
he
Like,
smiles at him because he found the light, and you sit
Yeah,
there
'cause he
thinking there's
revived
more to
him.
that.
I don't know. It was a pretty
Okay.
lingering touch of glowy light.
Shawnee, there's a lot of undertones
here's-
going on today that I'm not appreciating.
Here's one thing that I
Well,
was
dude.
curious about is when he brought Callie and Menethil back, she became like a spectral undead. When he brought Khadgar back, he's just like normal. What is the deal with that?
He
was
was
Andrew
barely
the one
gone,
responsible for bringing her back?
Yeah,
Oh, I
he
didn't know
brought her back, made her like a beautiful undead. He like made a brand new thing with his magic light powers. That book sucks ass.
Well, that is a good thing to bring up, though. It's like, what is the rules of resurrection in general?
What is the rules?
Because we're allowed to run around and resurrect left and right, no problem. But
I'm
like,
the chosen one. I can do that.
Well, I think after they disconnect, like you can't res him anymore.
Yeah,
But he was
that's
still there and
CDC.
online, like waiting to see.
He was
if
waiting for
would
that
get
res, bro.
He-
His gear's
was
all
ready.
red.
yeah. God
okay.
damn
And so we got to keep going because we're already running
Yeah.
late into this episode. But I want to move on to the dungeons. Actually, first off, is anyone leveling alts? I don't think any of you three
Yeah,
are.
no. My warrior is at 79 and a half.
Only because
change.
you're herbing.
Yeah, because I'm Irving, dude. Why not?
All right, Shawnee?
My mage is at 73.
No, I've got them like in the end
Yeah.
for when I get around
Boosting
to
up.
it, but I'm super hyper focused this season. So
Okay.
You haven't leveled your alts at all? Not one?
no,
All right,
I don't
technique
have time. Pushing.
73 on the mage. What have you done
Only-
and why?
Only really doing the quests that I didn't do on my warrior, and just trying to pick up some renown while leveling another character that I won't play.
So it's more gearing your renown anyways. So
It's really just more about getting the renown for my main.
Which we should give them credit. Fucking fantastic quality of life change, because I would never
Yeah.
level an alt this early because it feels like so wasted, you know, like
Yep.
get forward down on each character. But I was like, I'm like incentivized. I'm like, I might level a third guy just because like there's no reason not to do it across multiple characters. So I do want to give them props there. That is like probably one of the best quality of life changes they've made, is that you can get credit towards the important shit using all your characters.
I'm clearing up my map of all those exclamation points by just doing my leveling
it's
of
so
all.
satisfying.
And it's so I'm so happy to see that because I hate
and then your renown goes up on your main.
yeah.
It's the the best thing
So
ever.
good.
Like, that's what
Right.
pushes. I'll give them the 9 out of 10.
Warband's big W.
I'll give it to them.
Okay, you're taking it up to a level. Okay.
I'll take it up because I forgot that is like, oh my god, that
Well,
is the best change.
Let's talk about some things that maybe are a little more contentious then. The new dungeons.
Sure.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Has everyone done all the new dungeons?
Yes.
Yeah, I can talk on this one a lot.
Yes, you can.
Yeah,
I'm
go on,
sure.
Technique,
Okay,
then.
we're gonna start with the non-season ones for season one, non-season, season one dungeons. Okay, so we'll start with Cinderbrew Meadery. Is that what's it called? I can't remember, but Cinderbrew, right? The one
Cinderbrew
with the
Meadery, you
bees.
got it.
Yeah. Technique. You can be our lead on this whole topic. So give us a thumbs up, thumbs down.
That one's not so bad. It's okay. It's
pulls.
another dungeon.
Right.
Yeah, big chunky pulls. You got these little cool bees and the cool names for them. You got Beeline to laugh about
Did
a little
you-
bit.
Did
Fucking
you?
slow kills
The
me in that
BEO?
dungeon.
Did you know
Yeah.
that boss with the bee, the one who's riding the bee, that you're supposed to ride the bees to destroy the other barrels?
What?
Nope.
Yeah.
No.
Is that-
Did
is that
you
in
know
Myth-
on the one that's the brew, like the IPA is the name of the boss, I think? You're
Mhm.
supposed to make sure that those little brews don't touch him, otherwise he gets that stupidly big, massive shield,
Yes.
right?
Yes. I did know
Heroics are
that.
too easy. We don't do.
We'll
any
get to that. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. All right. No, but
Okay.
I'm looking forward to riding the bee in Mythic. Yeah, you're supposed to ride the bee and it lasts like I think 10 seconds, and then in your last second you're supposed to charge at a barrel and destroy it. But whatever. All right.
beef with that fucking bee because it's called Beeline and it hovers around. For, imagine with
I love
the
it.
timer ticking and you actually hit it twice, which I did. Oh my god, it was like turning red. I was so mad. I was like, this sucks.
All
I
right.
hate that shit.
Technique the Rookery.
That's the one we start in, right? That's
Yeah, that's the one that's like
Bird
living in the
with
city.
Feather ones.
Yeah, that one's okay too. You know,
Forgettable.
nothing super. A little forgettable. Yeah, yeah. But
Okay.
you know, it's got the birds in it, so that was cool.
All right, Shawnee, what
to-
did you? Sorry, go on.
No, that's all. Yeah,
Yeah.
head birds. Go ahead.
Shawnee, what do
Uh,
you think of it?
Yeah, it was fine.
Aesthetics
It's
and
like-
yeah.
yeah,
fine.
like there's nothing wrong with it.
Okay.
Yeah, there's only like one dungeon I don't really like. So
Well, and we're gonna get into the two of these that I think might be a little more problematic. So, Priory of the Sacred Flame.
That
Love
one's
it.
not in this.
That's not in season one now.
I really like that one.
So you
Yeah,
like it?
I
I
love
like
the
that
aesthetic, and I like the dungeon itself. I think some of the tuning needs to be worked on, but otherwise, I love the dungeon.
We
Honestly,
can agree across
And
the
I-
board.
and I
in
loved-
tuning.
the first time I did it, I walked in and I was like, "Oh shit, this feels like Scarlet Monastery all over again,"
Right?
and that was kind of a good vibe.
I'm confused because we're gonna talk about this in a second, but you're not a big fan of Dawnbreaker though because of the way it routes.
That's not the biggest reason I'm not a big fan of it.
Okay,
I think
well, then
it's,
we'll save that. Okay,
No,
I thought that was the
okay,
reason.
yeah,
why. Okay,
when we get to the Dawnbreaker, I'll tell you about that. But
thumbs up, Shawnee, for Priory.
a huge thumbs up.
Okay,
Love
okay.
it.
I'm surprised about that. All right, Dark Cleft. Not for you specifically, Shawnee. Just in
which one
general.
is Dark Cleft
The
again?
one with the
What is-
candles,
The one
the
with
Candle
the
King,
candles.
and
Oh
the
God!
darkness.
Fuck
Oh,
off
that
with
one.
the candle, man.
It sucks. They need to fix that for its rotation.
I mean, I guess now that we got the hang of it, it's not that bad, but it's like kind of a weird mechanic, and it sucks really bad for certain classes. You know, like casting classes, like it's really terrible to want to be right there in the light and having to move while trying to cast the whole time. So,
All right. So that's the 4 non-season dungeons. And before we go into season 1's dungeons, I want to take a second to self-promote here. Keystone Kindergarten has launched last week for all the new dungeons. There'll be a little thing that pops up at somewhere on the screen that says, here, click this to watch them. If you want to learn these dungeons better, please watch it. That's my ad for myself. Thank you. All right, we'll start with Stone Vault. Technique, you're our lead on this. So what do you think?
it's a blast to tank. You know, I like it feels a little bit like what's the Ultimate that we just came out of, Legacy of Tyr, right?
Oh, yeah.
As far as like tanking, you're going down these halls, picking up big groups, at least in Heroic anyway. We'll see how the big pulls work in Mythic, but big pulls, pull them around a corner, spank them in the corner, and move on. And that's kind of fun. The boss encounters are interesting. So I actually like that one pretty well.
You're going to see Edna, which is the first boss. You're going to see a different side of her when we go into Mythic Plus.
I know it's not going to. No, I know it's going to be challenging for sure.
It's gonna smack.
I remember in the beta. It was a brick wall for a lot of people. Yeah.
But what about the I say second boss? It could be the third boss, depending on which way you go. The Master Machinists and their big cube. How many people in pugs have you seen absolutely eat that?
None.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Not really.
Well, I don't pug often because we're
That's
our
true,
community,
yeah.
right? So we're playing with people that are, they have their eyes open at least.
I've pugged a ton.
Yeah.
All right, Shawnee, have you seen people?
I don't see you on like when I'm actually playing a lot.
Because
When
you go to bed and I'm still on.
Yeah. My
I'm no
my timing
life
is.
All right.
I'm like,
Take this date offline. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah, pug-wise has been pretty good because dungeon-wise has been like, I've been in groups with like probably mostly melee, and the tanks seem to know to move it to a corner, and then just no one gets hit because we're all standing on it.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Scrap, anything else, Dad?
About the stone vault?
Yeah.
Kind of forgettable. I don't know. I'm having trouble. I've done all the dungeons a couple times. I'm not really slamming heroics because you just roll them. So I'm not really learning any mechanics. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't love the tank pulls the whole dungeon.
Yeah.
To the first boss.
It's kind of annoying. I mean, even as a tank, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, it's unsatisfying. I mean, it can be said. I have all my cooldowns. And
Meters
stuff,
wise, it's satisfying.
Meters wise, it's satisfying, but it's frustrating. I feel like I can't wait until these are paced well. When we start getting into higher difficulty levels. So I'm not doing them much. I don't have much opinion. I can pretty much only speak to the aesthetics. The aesthetics are fine.
Arakara, City of Secrets. I can't remember what that one is. Arakara.
there's two cities of something. So which one is that?
This is the 3 boss one. The one that ends with the boss that has the black blood.
Oh, is this the one you got to go and find all the?
No, that's City of Threads.
Okay, that one's dog shit.
So Arakara is not dog shit. This is the one that has the
I love
spider.
Arakara, man. I think it's got great aesthetic. I think, it's spiders everywhere.
Well, yeah,
I think it was great.
I mean, we ran that first boss like 8 times in a row just to get trinkets.
Yeah, stupid trinket.
And it drops a great trinket, so
everyone wants that trinket
there.
apparently. Yeah. Did we know why that bug was happening? Because all of a sudden, as soon as you left Technique, it stopped dropping for everyone.
I think we were just getting lucky. I don't think it was a bug.
I think everybody had it at that point.
There was like 10 in a row.
We got.
They turned on the faucet.
We got 3 back to back, and then the 4th run was empty, and the 5th run dropped 2.
Yeah,
which was like what?
All right,
so
but like
they're giving out free trinkets.
Bosses wise though, like this is the one weakest of the 3 or 4 that I mean. Of bosses, because I feel like the bosses aren't really that great. The last boss,
I can't tell you what.
Hard to say.
Yeah, the last boss of Mythic will be crazy, but
or less.
All right, then let's move on to City of Threads.
Yeah, that one.
I hate that design, man.
We spent an hour doing the fucking RP. That sucks. That's gonna be annoying.
Okay, so just to clarify for those who don't know, there's a part of the dungeon where you have to find 4 Eyes of the Queen. Now, since then, Technique, I've sent you a video that shows how to route it very quickly. Have you done it since like knowing that route?
I didn't see the video.
Oh. It's very with the route. It's very easy to do. I messaged. I even added you. I added you, and I think it was Lithium because you guys were both complaining about it.
Okay.
The long and short of it is when you walk in, so you've killed the first boss, and you can now cross the bridge. You get that guy that you have to get to 50% that gives you the pheromones, but you can also pull the first queen, I have the queen, with that, so you're doing them both at the same time. So that saves time immediately. And then all you do is you do a clockwise rotation through the 3 slices of the area.
Yeah.
And you'll almost always immediately pick them up because all you have to do in the first area is there's only 3 spaces where it can spawn, I think. You just like quickly run to those 3 spaces and, if you get it in the first one, even better. You're like, cool, this is fast. And then from there, like they just immediately start kind of like falling into place and it's easy to find them. The reason why everyone's hated it is because they've been running around like, chickens with their head. No, actually not even that. Because this is what I get frustrated with about is like, it's clearly a hunt. Like you guys have to keep like fanning out, but everyone follows the person in the lead. This like everyone's just following that one person thinking, oh, they'll find it. So I don't have to.
I was only following you because it was annoying you.
Well, it's also like it's not like it's not quite like in Suramar where you're running around looking for the spies and there's not a threat to worry about. Like in this one,
trying to kill you,
especially in like a mythic, you're like, oh, let's fan out and find them, and all of a sudden, okay, well, I just fucking died and I pulled a bunch of shit and
wait,
now
you're
we're in
having
trouble.
that problem?
I found guys who.
I had a
knocked
few
you back
people
in the
get
beginning.
spotted by the spotters or whatever, and they
Sure.
get zapped, and
But they're not.
Then
But
they
they're
gotta
not in
run
combat. They
back
just
and-
they just got to run back
sure,
You
yeah,
get
and
caught
also
by that,
get
Frank.
good.
definitely. People are
you're
like
right.
trying
You're
to
right.
pass.
I will admit that I did get caught, but I am claiming and I'm standing by this that there's a bug because it like glitched on top of me.
There's
And,
a bug that when you didn't
I
actually
saw
get
I
caught.
saw it happen. I think to Lithian or Shawnee. I can't remember who it was.
Not me.
No, then it was Lithian. It happened to Lithian after he was giving me hell about it. He's like, "Oh, bug,
Yep.
Frank," and it literally happened to me. He's like, "Oops, okay, never mind." But anyways,
I would
that's
never
neither
say
here nor-
never mind.
Okay, but what about like so? I guess you're not even really experiencing the bosses though either, because they're just
No, we're
falling.
not.
really.
I don't remember shit
Okay.
from that dungeon. I just
Okay.
remember you yelling at me while I followed you around like
All
the
right.
Archie for literally
Dawnbreaker.
15 minutes.
Dawnbreaker.
Oh, I have a lot to say about Dawnbreaker.
All right, kick us off, Scrap.
It is so broken. I literally like hit the ground too hard when I was landing back on the boat that I phased through the floor of Dawnbreaker into the pit of the ship. When you're in the pit of the ship, it's like an area you can walk around and stuff. There's boxes on every door that will not allow you because you're not supposed to be in the pit, but you
Mhm.
also can't get out of the pit and you couldn't die. And it was just, I was like, what the fuck? And this is while I'm fighting for my life not to barf because the moving
The
around
motion
shit.
sickness, yeah.
The motion sickness is insane, dude. They need
Yeah.
to do something about that. Even in like that, what the fuck was that dungeon in Draenor where you're like on a train and there's like stuff outside?
Grimmer.
There was like a thing that you could trigger to say like, hey, don't show the background. But like nobody on the planet got motion sick for the background moving. This thing you have to like fly, like you jump off the ship and the momentum of like coming off the ship like hits you and I was like, oh my god, I can't I'm so dizzy. And then Technique is saying, don't go, okay, you should have gone there. I'm like, I can't, I'm
He
literally, every time I
led the
do-
group. He led the group to a ship I've never seen before, and everyone
Dude.
immediately died because they were in the darkness.
I was
like, oh, wrong shit. Yeah.
No, because he's like, no, this is a trick. Don't move. Don't. Oh, we were supposed to have gone there. That was when we were supposed to. I'm like, literally,
It was
like,
my first time trying to execute
Yes, in
said
fairness,
trick.
in fairness,
and it
yeah.
works
this is my
great
first
now.
time there, and I'm literally fighting for my fucking life. Like, I'm so dizzy. Like, I don't get like motion sick exactly quickly, but I get like disoriented.
Yeah,
very
for
easily
sure.
by video
Yeah.
game stuff, and like that fucks with me. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to get carried through that one. Like. I don't know if I'll get used. Maybe when I know where to go, I'll be less disoriented. But literally, I would take off, and I'm like, dude, I'm like upside down. Like I have no fucking clue where to go. So
Yeah.
Technique,
I think they may have bit off more they can chew because I've seen a lot of people kind of parroting
it
like
is.
it's confusing. It's not very like intuitive. And then they hit you with the motion sickness, dog. Like that is the hardest dungeon
Yeah,
they've
dog.
ever made.
Technique, you seem to be echoing Scrap's points.
Yeah, a lot of what she's saying is exactly what I wanted to say. So like for a newcomer, for sure, like it's very easy to be like, where the fuck am I supposed to go?
Yeah.
And even though they're like saying, get off the ship, go to the other ship, you're like, what ship? And it's behind you and it's down there and you can't quite fly through the ship. It's kind of a pain in the ass. And then you got to deal with like I actually had one time where I'm on the boat and I try to go to the next one. I'm like out of vigor. And I'm like, okay, great, cool. So I'm going to just drown on this ship or whatever.
Collectively, our
Like,
entire
yeah.
Discord, when they hear that on the YouTube, they're all going to say, "What'd you call me?"
Yeah,
Yeah,
what
we're
did you
so
fucking call me?
funny.
That's the joke. That's the joke.
Yeah.
Okay, Shawnee, what do you think of Dawnbreaker?
Not a huge fan, and it's pretty much everything they said. Maybe once it's not so buggy that like people aren't falling through ships
Very
and DC.
buggy.
Like if it's that buggy in Mythic Plus, and it's like, oh, I gotta disconnect to get back in, and we miss a timer and stuff,
Horrible.
I'm gonna be annoyed. And I guess the other thing is like I haven't really, I've queued up for way too many dungeons. And just way too many people, like, as soon as they see it's Dawnbreaker, they leave the queue, or they go in and they're like, oh, the second boss, we can totally ignore
Oh,
all the
God.
lieutenant dudes you gotta kill.
That's a
And we sit there and fight the second boss for, like, ever. It's doable, but it's still, like, all the dungeons, I've learned the least mechanically for that dungeon. And, like, it bugs out on stuff. I picked up a
Wait.
barrel one time, and, like, and when you have to use the bombs to blow up the boss to get off the ship, and it just like wouldn't let me throw it, and I couldn't attack, and I'm just running around with like a barrel in my hand, like
you have to be within a certain amount of yards to be able to drop it.
Wait,
Yeah, I was.
Dawnbreaker's the one with the boss with the ball that busts on the fountain too, right?
Yes, Dark Orb. Okay, so I'm just gonna give my.
That boss is hype. I think that dungeon will be
yes.
great once they fix it. They need to fix it.
I'm saying this coming from a place that I've studied this dungeon very extensively. This was the one for Keystone Kindergarten that I had to keep going back to better understand, because things also changed. I don't want to say drastically, but changed quite a bit on the beta through this cycle. I love this dungeon. Right now, all the things you guys said, all the things you've said are fair criticisms. I'm not going to say you're wrong, right? That second boss to me was like studying how to work it was so much fun that I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed navigating the city and figuring out how to, like, now granted, when we get into Mythic Plus, there are going to be counts that you have to meet. You cannot do half of the things that people are trying to do right now, which is like fly directly to the mini boss, kill it, fly directly to the mini boss, kill it.
The city part is great. I think it's probably.
I think that will happen. You'll just find like a big lump of percentage somewhere and just get it all there.
And I'm worried that'll happen. Yeah, I'm worried that we'll also have like a universal. This is where you tank the boss, and that will like not cheese it, but it'll just make it so easy, right? But like the whole experience I had on beta learning this dungeon was so great, and you know, I'll lean into my next topic here. Like, so heroic difficulty is supposed to be the new M0.
Definitely
I don't think. Wait, sorry. It does feel that way?
No.
Yeah, M0 is always cheese free.
Was it that cheese? Like
no.
Yeah.
Not in the expansion. Not the start of the expansion. Never felt like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Not the start of the expansion. No, this felt like heroics at the beginning of every expansion. I don't know why they talked it up. These were completely. We roll everything.
So
we were four-manning it. You and I did like all the trash in Arakara with a fucking mage and a hunter, like up to the first boss. With no sweat, zero sweat, just two of us.
I mean, it was a little sweat, but okay, speak for yourself.
I didn't sweat, dude.
Yeah, because I was the one that had threat.
Well, because I was misdirecting you. Because I didn't. Exactly. But I'm just saying that you can two-man at relatively low gear and like even lower skill level. Like,
well, half of those mobs are not elites in the start of.
No, they were elites.
No.
The elite ones too.
No, we had 2 or 3, but like 80% of them were non-elites.
That is
said,
severely undertuned.
No. The reason why is because those mobs they don't snap to the tank necessarily. Their abilities hit the group anyways, so they're not going to hit too hard as we run through it. But that's neither here nor there. You're right, it was still too easy. And here's my concern. On the beta, they obviously limited our gear score to be a little lower. I can't remember what it was. I'm sure I could go look, but it was pretty much in the realm of heroic gear, so like 573, I want to say.
I think I put it with 586 is what I think. Really? It was 586.
Okay. Well, that's good news then, because like when we did the Mythic 2s, I didn't do any M0s on it. I just did Mythic 2s. It was a 20% bump. So Mythic 2s, I think a 21% bump to M0. But the truth is that if we go into these M0s and they are thoughtless, I'm not going to say easy is a different word, because like once you know the mechanics, you're like, oh yeah, that's okay. And now you can bleep resume. That's cool. But like, I really hope that these M0s stop people from just steamrolling and let people learn. Now, granted, there is no insta-queue for M0. That's a topic we're actually going to talk about in the next episode. But you have to form a group, so that's good, and at least you can talk to everyone like, hey man, I'm going to be pulling like crazy, so just keep up, and you just go, okay, well, that's the group I'm in, and I can leave if I want to, and it's fine. But yeah, I'm really worried about M0 not feeling like a plus 10 did in Dragonflight. What are y'all's thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, I don't really care much about M0s. I'm just going to slam them, get a bunch of gear, get ready for M+. And M+ is fine because it's like, it's as difficult as you can push it up to be, right?
Well, the rumor is that...
sorry?
Well, I'll just say, so M12s were tested on the beta, and all the high-end, like the 1%ers, the title fighters were saying, like, these 12s are hard. Like, the joke is that you're going to hit, like, 13, and then no one's going to be able to do 14s. Right?
Yeah, I guess it doesn't really matter to me too much where the difficulty ticks over.
I agree,
for me, is as long as it's enjoyable at that, like, high difficulty
and
level
you can get
for
your portals.
Me. Yeah, it's good. I mean, I don't even really care about the portals. That's just something to shoot for. Like, but I just want to be on the edge of what's difficult for me, so I can actually be engaged and not losing my mind and thinking about Xal'atath's feet or whatever. Like, I need to be like engaged, and I need it to be difficult to be engaged. Like, I'm playing sloppy, man. I ain't kicked shit for 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Like,
Speaking of which, I am implementing our new feature real quick: the IO tracker and the Delve tracker for Technique. So Technique, we haven't started.
Technique walking the shit back. Can you play the clip of what he said last week?
know exactly what I said.
Now you're gonna make me. Oh, God. Okay.
No.
Okay, Technique, can we do a little thing? I'm gonna start a
mute
timer.
Me. Go ahead.
No, I'm not gonna mute you. I'm gonna start a timer on the day this game launches. Okay. You have to beat
See how long
the
it takes for
13th. You have to beat the 13th delve as quick as you can.
Faster than any of you?
No.
Before any of us complete one.
You are the test subject, right?
All right, fine. I'll be the fucking delve captain. Let's go.
The second
boring.
I'm gonna ask you, what do you think? How many days until you can complete that 13th delve?
17 days.
Okay, write it down. 17 days.
Okay.
No, we'll just recap it. What did Technique
17
say?
days after max level, I'll have the 13th delve.
So how many days are we into that? Because we're already like halfway through.
What day did you hit max level?
I don't know, dude. 3 days after launch.
Yeah, I think 1 day after we'll launch.
3 days. It was probably on launch day because we had early access.
Days.
Okay. You mean after? Okay. So you had like the Monday of launch day.
Yeah, but you can only jump up to Delve 3 at that point. So,
but we knew that was going to be the case when you made that post.
You knew.
Well, you should have known.
I'm okay. I'm okay because technically you've already admitted this.
They're harder and they're time consuming, and fuck them. I don't want to do them.
They're boring. I think that's what's going to hold you out of them. Is that they're dull as fuck. So you're not going to do them.
Okay, so I'm going to let you off the hook, and what we'll do is once they open fully, which is this Tuesday, that's when your timer will start. Okay.
I think that's super fair.
Okay. Now I don't want to go in the delves just yet. Let's just put a pin on heroics. Shawnee, Technique, heroics. What do you think? Has it been good or bad for the game?
For the game?
Yeah, like, and the reason I asked for the game is because we're only allowed to do heroics right now. Technique, you brought up the question earlier, like a week ago, to me saying like, well, dude, this is like 2.5 weeks, I think it is, of no M0, and it's just so boring and but the truth is, I'm almost certain that they didn't open up. You know what? That's not true. They opened up M0, but M0 was a lot easier. But they didn't let us get gear from M+ past, I think, +4s. This was the old system as well. So they weren't necessarily, well, theoretically, they weren't harder. But it does feel like there's a content drought for a lot of the sweaties out there.
Yeah. Sean's been playing every day, a couple hours a day. He's got content.
I mean, I'm not going to complain about it. I'm not a big fan of it for me because I play just the one guy. And I feel like this expansion is really focused around those players that want to play multiple characters. Fine. I don't have the numbers, comparing this expansion to the last or the one before. But I do feel like this has been a much slower, like, gated sequence to get into the stuff I want to do. We had a week of BSing with we had early access, and then we had a week of just the game campaign, and then we had the next week was campaign and heroics, right? And then another week of heroics.
Wasn't heroics open immediately? On launch, not on early access.
No.
So okay. My remembering, and I should have done research before this, I'm sorry, but like this is the first time we've had early access, so that's 3 days, right? 4 days, really, right? Mm-hmm. Where everyone had more time. Okay, let's just put that to the side for a second. So we have Monday launch, going into immediately Tuesday reset. Okay, that Tuesday reset is when I think heroics opened. So it was literally 1 day where heroics weren't available. So we've had heroics from that Tuesday to the last Tuesday. And then this coming Tuesday. So that's 2 weeks of heroics, no M0. This past week, so 1 week ago, effectively, we had the final part of the campaign open. But for the most part, there really hasn't been content.
And here's the other thing I want to bitch about right quick. During that time, for those that maybe wanted to do crafting, the acuity thing, man, like I don't want to do what so many other players are doing, and leveling a profession and then dropping it and picking a different profession, leveling it and getting the acuity and then dropping it.
I don't know anybody who's doing that actually. So.
Sweaties
A
are
lot
doing
of
it.
sweaty
Sweaties are doing it.
crafters are.
But in our community,
Well, no, and it's so
Yeah.
there's just not enough acuity to get to the point where you can actually really focus on crafting right now, because you can't get the acuity to get the knowledge points and all that other shit to actually get the patterns that you want and whatever else. So it's kind of like a weird
You don't
timing.
like that choice though? That you have to choose like which patterns you get to make the impact you want to make?
No, I like that. The problem is I literally can't afford to get the knowledge points to go and do the stuff I want to do.
I'm
at the level I want to do it, because I'm. It's like there's nothing else to do. I want to work on crafting, and you can't really do that either because there's not enough acuity.
I'm Shawnee, you've been doing professions too, so I'll hear your opinion in just 1 second. I'm sorry, but I'm surprised to hear that technique, because I've done enchanting and jewel crafting, and I'm really enjoying the first off, I'm enjoying the concentration. I'm enjoying the.
I like that part too. Yes.
Yeah, like because it makes it like I can't just craft golds right away. I have to use that sparingly. But like the knowledge power, I've probably gotten almost 100 points so far.
Well, I've got a lot. I've got all of it except for the ones that you buy with acuity, and I'm doing all the patron orders as well every time they pop up.
But like, you don't think that I mean, a week and a half and 2 weeks.
No, the recipes are like 150 a piece.
Yeah,
to get the last 30 knowledge points from the vendor.
But why do you need to do that all right now? Like,
so I can guarantee my alloys are gold star, and so I can get the better crafting.
Wouldn't that
Those
dilute your auction house?
Yeah.
And then you lose gold?
Huh?
Because if everyone's able to get there that quickly, the value of that gold the 3-star one.
I'm not saying everyone. I'm saying bro, it still was a lot of work to go and get all that shit done. It's not like everyone's going to be doing that, but for me to now, I think so. Like enchanting and jewel crafting both earn you a lot of acuity while leveling. Mining doesn't, and so like your gathering quests or gathering professions don't get you the acuity as you level in the way that
maybe because I can do 2 patron ones.
You get some, but not like hundreds.
Yes, but in the inverse of that point, though, I'm also spending a fortune on buying the materials myself.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But you're replacing it with money.
I'm not mining. I really should just drop mining and do engineering.
I know that's the point, right? Like, yeah. Okay. I'm off topic. I don't remember where we were.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, okay.
I think it's pertinent.
No. Yeah, I'm really enjoying professions, and it's giving me something to do. Yeah, no, well, it's giving me something to do in these 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, sorry. Leading into my next topic, next week is unofficially called Delves Week. Okay?
Yeah, baby.
Oh,
so, just to give some context for those, well, just to give some context, next week, all the Delves will open fully. Level 8 is the highest you can get. Oh, yeah, that's right. And the raid will open, normal and heroic.
Yeah, it's like in 2 days. Are you ready?
Well, here's the reason why it's important, though, because you obviously from heroic raid you can get, I think, heroic geared, tracked geared, but that's obviously very limited. With heroic and the coffer keys, you can get some pretty good gear, but if you fill out all 8 level 8 delves in your Great Vault, you will get the best gear possible for your first week of going into Mythic Plus, which is why it's such a big deal.
It's a requirement.
It's gonna be the best.
You could argue it's a requirement, but you're gonna
vault
pass
reward
of the week.
You can get.
Yes, yeah.
Is it going to be prohibitively difficult to do that, or?
Yeah.
So
first of all,
Dorky went on stream because like the whole time everyone's been talking about delves are too easy, but the truth is I don't think they've been really testing them. So Dorky went on the beta this week and did a level 8 delve. He did it once on Frost and once on Blood. It was easier as a tank, but he was struggling. Now, granted, he also doesn't know how to fish, so I don't know what his skills are. His skills are in different areas, but he is obviously a good player, and he was admitting like, okay, this is actually pretty tough, and that's only level 8, right?
I thought 8 was the highest.
No, level 11 is the highest.
8's the highest that you can go to get rewards for the vault.
Okay, so
anything
like
after that,
like 8 is the highest. Okay, yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah. Now you get rewards from. Sorry, Frank. You
No, go
do
on.
get rewards for your like airship from completing the highest level, like 13 or whatever it is.
Cosmetics.
But
I'm gonna wait
it
till
doesn't
I
affect
can
your vault.
gear it to do that though.
Well, and
You
here's
know?
the thing
That
too.
was-
It is going to be easier to do it as a group.
Yeah.
Oh,
sure.
as a group, that'll be fun.
So
Yeah.
one thing I was like a little curious about with the challenge coming in as the levels come up, like is it literally just going to be crank the numbers up and you just can't do it because your gear isn't good enough, or is it going to be challenging because they're going to add mechanics and different difficulty in that way?
Why would you think it
Um,
differs from how M Plus differs?
I don't know how it's going to differ.
Yeah, it's
So-
kind of interesting.
I'd like to see more.
Yeah.
I'd like it to be more challenging, not just hit me harder. You know,
It is, from what I've seen, it's just numbers until
Yeah.
you get to that 13th level where it's like a mage,
Mage tower,
tower type boss
Yeah.
thing.
yeah.
Not as
Wait,
hard,
can you
but
do
close.
that mage tower in a group, or do you have to do that solo?
I don't know.
I think you
I
can.
haven't seen
think you
anything
can.
about it.
It
I would
seems a
imagine
bit
it's
bizarre
that level.
because I mean, when I did the first delves, I did like 3 of them, and I was like, oh, this fucking sucks. This is boring. It's easy, and I don't like it. Whatever. Then we did as a group, and it was like, okay, this kind of feels like a broke ass dungeon, like kind of a half ass dungeon
It
experience.
felt like an
you know?
objective dungeon. Like, oh, you have to just do objectives instead of kill count.
Yeah, I don't know. So okay. I definitely had more fun when we were doing it together because we were just bullshitting and I didn't have to think much or just vibing or whatever. But certainly wasn't challenging. I mean, I don't see why I would do it by myself if it's easier and more efficient to do it with friends. And then it's like at that point, it's like we have to throw together a 5-man to do the
Not even.
delve.
You could do a 3-man.
You can just do a 2
Okay,
or
okay.
a 3,
Well,
but
that
yeah.
that is cool. That's what's different. I was gonna say, how is this different than just booting up a
So
M0?
I want you to put yourself in
like-
the shoes real quick, right? You are
Okay,
you are
okay.
the person that
Put
doesn't
my
have a
in the
community, right?
shoes.
You are by yourself. You only get a couple hours. You don't want to deal with the M plus rigor.
As long as you got
rigmarole,
shoes
right?
on, she's good.
And you're like, oh, this is a dungeon for just me. That's the point.
It feels like this is okay.
Or a
I
dungeon for me and
understand
my
this is like a
husband, you know?
substitute for dungeons, I guess, which is I like that. But I'm guessing once M plus is in rotation, this isn't going to be as required as it is next
Oh, no,
week, right?
absolutely
Like I'm just
not.
going to
No,
ignore that
no.
vault slot, basically.
No,
Well,
go on, Shawnee.
you wouldn't. I was gonna say you probably don't want to ignore it simply because even if you're doing M plus, you might get something that's like your BIS and it's 2 item levels lower than whatever you get from whatever M plus you did.
I would
Right,
really
like-
like to be able to ignore this part of the game. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, there's
like,
they will
Yeah.
get to that point for sure because we'll scale out of it, and like as we keep
Yeah.
doing, once we get through normal raid and doing heroic, like. But I think it'll
But
be
those-
the first few
yeah.
weeks.
I mean, I don't know if my opinion is unpopular because I'm not like on Twitter or anything like that, but the delves are not. They're not it to me, man. They feel like shitty Torghast, and Torghast is already like pushing it. You know what I mean? Like
I love Torghast. I wish they'd
no,
do more of that.
Torghast
But
is so much, dude. The whole time we're in it, I'm just like, I wish this was Torghast. Torghast is so much more fun because
Yeah.
it's like the procedural generation is like I feel like there's. I guess we haven't done many weeks of it, but it felt like it was a pretty different experience each time, and then also getting the powers.
You know
like,
the delves are
they were
procedurally
really
generated, right?
fun. Yeah, they are, but they feel like I did one twice, and I could not tell you what the fucking difference was.
But you
like,
could
Yeah.
tell the difference between the Torghast levels.
Yes, I could because not only was it the procedural
big.
generation of like where
bigger
mobs were and
zones felt
stuff,
like.
and it rotated different every week and stuff, but also I just had like really different toolbox every time I did it because of like what I would get at the beginning and throughout
Okay.
and how like okay I can
Yes.
skip this because of that. So I don't know why they made Torghast but worse. Like just make Torghast again. Like people like Torghast.
See,
I
I'm-
like
I'm the
Torghast
inverse.
well enough.
I'm in the inverse. I love these delves. Now, granted,
You like them more than Torghast?
yes. Now, I wish there was
What
a
the
part.
fuck and what?
Yeah,
I wish there was a
So
power sense to it
stupid.
than Torghast, but I love the aesthetics of them.
The
Mhm.
aesthetics.
I love that
better
I'm.
than Torghast.
I love. Now, granted, this will probably fade in time, so by all means. But I love that they feel a little more. I'm not going to say story driven, but like, okay, so we had to do the waterworks delve for the campaign. And it's like, oh, I actually am going into this waterworks and I'm doing something inside to turn the water machine back on or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And it just felt like, again, it felt like a little quest-ish, but more involved. And I was actually trying to like look and see what I wanted to do. I do
I
believe
don't
this will
want to
wear
have to
off very
turn on the
quickly.
water 10 times a week, though. As somebody who pushes
But
Mythic Plus,
Scrap-
I recognize that
Scrap-
that is like
Yeah, it's
totally
not for you on that end.
off-base. I know, but I'm just saying, like, I get that I'm gonna do Dawnbreaker 45 times by the end of the season at least.
140
so, like, me
times.
saying that's what I do. That's about right. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Okay, no, that's way too many. Actually, that's way too many. Hold on, let me revise that. 20 times by the end of the season.
That will be our
For
dead
some
queue.
reason, the delves, they just feel they're not as good as dungeons. They're not as good as Torghast. I just don't want to do them.
I think it's a good first effort at releasing some content that's good for 1, 2, 3, or 4 players.
Yeah, for a brand
And
new game.
For those people that don't have a big group of pals like us, like I could see like hopping on and playing a delve with
But
my wife or
you
something.
could do that
yeah.
in Torghast. That was
I would
like
have
6
preferred it
years
in
ago.
Torghast, yes.
No, you could do that in
And we
Torghast.
did. Me and
we
Danny,
did.
I
So
love
why are you
just
saying
doing
it's a new
Torghast with my
experience?
brother. That was good. I liked
Yeah,
that.
so this is not new. There's nothing new content about this.
Was
This isn't-
Torghast challenging for you though?
at the higher levels early in
Yeah,
the season?
it depends.
They
Did you
were.
get good buffs or did you not? You know.
Yeah,
So
no,
doesn't
they were
that feel more
definitely-
RNG and no longer fun is within your control?
I actually like
Yeah.
that dungeon crawler style of game in general.
Yeah.
Like Hades and other styles of games
yeah.
like it.
That's the only thing that Torghast had going for it, in my opinion, was that part of it. But
Yeah, I mean, it was
Yeah.
for fun. I wish the rewards in Torghast could have been cooler. Like
Yeah, you
even
definitely
if it just
doing it after, like, the
remained
first
like
2 weeks.
transmogs and stuff. But anyway, I mean, I think we're beating this.
Don't
into
get me
the ground
wrong.
with
If
this
they
thing.
had that
Fair.
power system from Torghast, the Hades style thing, what is that's
Yeah.
like roguelite or whatever. That would be really fun in Delves. I agree, but I also feel like I don't want it to make it so powerful that I'm just mopping the floor with it either. I hated the aesthetic of the mall too. It just
Well,
Okay, well,
was
that's just
I
always
give zero
opinion.
shits about Bronzebeard being in there. I do not
You
want
will-
followers.
you will when you're
I
doing
don't
your
give a
13th
shit.
delve.
Well,
I wish you had more
yeah.
characters. To pick
you will.
from.
Every season will be a new character.
I love having
Okay,
a
well, I wanna
follower,
pick from them.
honestly. Yeah, I love having a follower. I love setting him up. I love getting gear for him. It's something to do in there. It's another thing for me to do. I leveled him to
Yeah.
15 when I learned there was like a cap. I'm like, oh, I got to get this to 15 before this week. I super am enjoying the delves. I enjoy it when I come on and everyone's gotten on before me. They're all doing other stuff and I can go delve or whatever. I look forward to doing delves with my friends. Yeah, I think I enjoyed Torghast, but I think delves will end up the same for me as Torghast did, where it becomes a chore. But aesthetically, I agree with Frank. It's nice to see something different than me going through Torghast like 18 times in a week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
At
but
least I can go to different delves and look at something different instead of just
the
looking at.
reason I'm stuck
that.
on Torghast, I guess, is because this just feels like Torghast, but with less features. It feels like 6 years later, we're
it's
taking steps
quicker.
back. What does Delves have that Torghast doesn't have?
It's speed. I can get done a delve a lot quicker, and I could.
Oh, you don't have to. You get to
Well,
not do it quicker.
also-
like oh, I get to be done with doing this quicker. Like that's
Yeah.
Then
No,
you
for
don't
me,
want to
that's
do it.
checks
You want to be
faster.
done with it. Like
I want to do it, but I like sometimes Torghast felt like forever.
My favorite part about delves is getting out of them, is what you're saying. Like
No,
when
it's not
I'm
the
done,
same,
like,
but
I'm just like, that's not a feature, man. That
It's
sucks.
efficiency. Efficiency for me is a feature.
Okay,
So yeah, it's a feature to
And,
me
and
that
it
I
won't
can.
be as efficient when we get into higher levels.
No, I'm looking forward. I will say I'm looking forward to this week to really getting into some more challenging solo content because I like doing Torghast was difficult. I love Mage Tower. Like I'm hoping my
Scrap, we need to start
Brandon is
streaming
like
onto Twitch so we can have all these moments
Yeah.
where you're screaming
my
and you're
brain is like level 5, so I'm putting weights on myself, so it'll be more difficult. That's my excuse, right? Like, so I'm looking forward to it, but the whole time I'm just thinking like, man, this is just shitty Torghast. Like it's just Torghast that they didn't finish and they turned it in anyway. Like, come on, give us something new.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, we are going to finish with the question of the week here in a second. But I just want to kind of wrap up what it'll look like for the next week because I'm going to be back out of town again.
Of course.
But we are going to record an episode in the middle of this week after the M0's launch and all that. There's a whole bunch of drama around solo queuable M+. There's a drama around leaving dungeons, which I wanted to talk a little bit more about, but we'll save that because I kind of want to tie that into M0 as well, seeing if that happens. And we have the 20th anniversary event coming up, so we'll talk a little bit more about that next week. But I'll go on ahead and, well, first I'm going to turn off IRO counters because that's relevant now anyways, and put up our question of the week. So I just wanted to get y'all's final thoughts on early access. We've seen it from start to finish.
Oh yeah.
Just to repeat, like, people were able to level, people were able to start professions, but I don't think they were able to earn knowledge points or anything like that, or at least not do it through the means of like doing your crafting quests and stuff like. But I just want to get y'all's final thoughts now that it's come and gone. Shawnee, why don't you kick us off on this one?
I thought it went well, considering WoW has a track record of things launching and it being horrendous. So I was shocked that I didn't get disconnected like 85 times. I wouldn't go to my way to buy it just because it was early access. If they gave me, like, I always buy the most expensive digital one because they have stuff for other Blizzard games I play. But if it was like, if they didn't have that and they're like, oh, it's $10 more for early access, I probably wouldn't have. I didn't need it, technically. It definitely made the time between like start and M plus and M0 and all that seem a little bit longer. So yeah, I think a lot of people would have been, if they didn't get it for not free, but if they didn't get it by proxy of already buying other stuff, I think a lot of people would have been better off, because I heard a lot of people complaining like, I don't have stuff to do, and I'm like, yeah, because you were in 3 days before the game was even out. So maybe that would help the people with the time management in between things. And a lot of people were like, oh, I can't do this yet, I can't do that. And I'm like, yeah, because we're in early access. And they don't want us to get so far ahead of everyone else. I don't have a problem with it. I wouldn't pay for it directly, solely. And if they got rid of it, I would be okay with that.
I mean, can I go next? Because I feel like completely the opposite. I mean, literally, I never buy the deluxe edition. I don't care about pets. I don't care about mounts. I don't care about anything. I don't want to pay more for the game I'm already paying a ton for. But they definitely found a way to get money out of me, because I will buy the early access every fucking time. Like, I no, for real. Like, I was like, okay, this is worth the extra $20 or whatever the fuck to play for 3 days early, because
really,
I'm like so excited. Dude, I would not be able to. Whatever, I would not be able to handle the FOMO of you guys all playing it and me not playing it, even though I wasn't in Discord or anything. Like, I'm like, I want to play it. And you know what? The experience of playing it when it wasn't like crashing all the time, when the quest givers were not swamped and stuff, and that I felt like I had like, oh, it's so much longer before M0s or whatever. Like, I could totally just really slowly make my way through the story, explore, fish, get treasure, like whatever. I felt so relaxed. I was having the best time ever. I felt like I was in on something, and I was getting all these ores and herbs, and I was selling them to the other people who were also in on it. Like, but yeah, no, that's the first thing that they've like monetized that's extra that I've actually been like, well, I'll buy that, So
I was going to bring up the fact that I feel like most of the people, I was surprised because I thought there would be a ton of people who get the, like in our Discord, I can't recall anyone saying, oh, I didn't have the deluxe edition.
No, every single person we play with did
there's
it
probably
early.
one or two,
like,
but like most of us, if not all of us.
Yeah, everybody was playing
it.
But
the truth is that I don't, my thought was, though, I don't know of anyone who did it for the early access alone, but it sounds like you're that one person, Scrap.
Oh, I'm the one person. I have never bought a deluxe edition before this time, ever.
I'd like to point out, Scrap, you didn't do it for early access because you had no clue you had early access.
No, but I remember I did. I forgot that I had bought it, because I was like,
You're like,
see
did
if
I
bought it.
that?
When they had talked about it, I got it originally.
Yeah,
and then
I could understand Scrap forgetting that she was told something great was happening.
You can check my account. I don't know. I have never bought a deluxe edition ever until this time.
We'll take your word for it.
Literally,
it was just funny.
I do not like the mounts and the pets things, unless there was like a really cool one. I guess maybe I would, but it's never happened before. So yeah, this is, if I would only buy, if they could say early access $20, you don't get anything else, that would be me. And they're like $30 for all the everything else. No, forget it. I'm keeping my $10.
I bought it because of beta access. I was guaranteed beta access.
Beta. Fuck beta. I don't care.
But that's also because I'm the type of person that wants to go study before, do my homework.
Yeah, you're a dork.
Technique.
Yeah, you talking about the early access too.
Yeah.
I mean, I bought the collector's edition. I buy all the collector's editions. The early access came with it. we didn't know buying it. When buying it, we didn't know kind of what all we would be able to do. I liked the idea that I had a bit of an edge on other players, but then we had 2 weeks of nothing to do, so I'm a little disappointed in that.
So it was fair, and that disappoints you.
Not that it was like fair, but it just literally had nothing to do. Kind of like what Shani was saying. Of course, that's not entirely true. Like I said, I don't have alts that I want to play. So for those people that wanted to play multiple characters, like I'm sure it was nice for them to have a couple more days to be able to do all that, and then have their mains ready to go for M+ when we M0s when we open up next week. I mean, whatever. Would I do it again? Yeah, I'm gonna do it again, dude. Whatever, I'll do it again.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
take my money
so-
out.
I'm just gonna look. I missed out on this. All right, it broke
You sure
my
did.
heart.
Loser.
I was so
Broke your soul.
envious watching. Like it doesn't happen for me anymore because like I've got kids and stuff that I can't like take the whole weekend off and play. But just the fact that like even at night, I would take my laptop out. I was I think I was in Toronto the night it launched, but I was trying to do it even when I was in Disney. And like I was so tired. I played for like 15 minutes. I was like, I gotta go to bed.
Yeah.
I was so envious of seeing people on Twitter show all the food that they bought and all the like sodas and all that shit. It just took me back to the launch of Legion and Burning Crusade and all that shit. I was so upset that I missed it.
Dude, I bought I bought a ton of soda, man.
But what I'm taking away from this early access, and I do believe this is going to be unique because of Delves launching. I think Delves are the reason why things are moving so slowly. We can talk about that next week. But I want to read a tweet real quick, right? Reading the comments on Blizzard's blue post about having WoW be more accessible for solo players made me realize that the only people that are against this are usually the people who are the reason people want more solo content to begin with. Right?
Yeah, like mind your business. I agree with that guy.
I say this because like if you watch the Podyssey and other, the bench and all that stuff, like every single one of them seems to have the same thought of like, well, this is not great for me. I kind of want to like go. But at the same time, one, I appreciate not having to think WoW like so aggressively at first. And of course, season 1 will be exactly what I want it to be, and I'll go aggressive then. But two, they all seem to think like this is good for the game, and so I'm okay with it. I'm not like negative against it. I'm okay with the fact that I'll only play WoW for 2 hours and then go do something else, right? And I think that's really healthy, and I'm happy to hear that. It seems like they're, fully on board with like this is good for the community. But we have had some people in our groups, just be so negative about it. And and Technique, of all people, you have the right, I think, to be the most negative about it because you are the only that I can think of person that plays one tune and one tune only. But these are people that also play multiple tunes and they're still
and they're bored.
whinging about it.
Oh, some of these guys have like 880s and they're all like 590 right now, and I'm like, don't complain. Get a fucking job. Like, go outside.
Quote
thing that we've been saying to each other.
job.
Get a job.
I mean, but like I said, a lot of this stuff is geared for players that don't play the game or that play the game differently than me, and I'm okay with that. Like my time is coming soon when Mythic Pluses are open again, and we can, play our hearts out with the group of people we like to play with, and I'll be all right. But am I enjoying a lot of this stuff right now? Not really, but we'll get there. It's coming.
I think they'll learn. Again, I think Delves are a part of this, but I think they'll learn like this wasn't the most ideal scenario for everyone. I think even if they just released M0s a little bit earlier, and that would have been enough.
Frank, what they should do is double the amount of quests so we spend more time.
No,
doing
I don't
that.
want more quests.
And take it
There were plenty
longer
of
to
quests.
level.
I absolutely could have made the leveling process more difficult and longer, for sure. Way better.
I think they did between that and Dragonflight. I mean, I don't really remember.
It was pretty
someone
easy
else
to
made
level.
this
It was
point.
pretty easy to level.
Someone else made this point. Like, if you were doing dungeons, you were actually, if you like most of us were like max geared coming out of the expansion, since season 4 was such a dick off. Everyone has everything they want, and you roll up into this. You didn't get an upgrade until you were like 576, or excuse me, like level 76.
Yeah.
And you actually got weaker as you leveled, and that was a really sad realization. Like, my DPS is going down as I level.
Because you lose like
But
your 4 set and
You
stuff.
also always go
Well-
down in power 2 levels before max in every
Yeah.
expansion.
That doesn't mean it was good design then. I'm just saying it's
True.
not good design to like level up and feel like you're getting smaller. And it just doesn't, nobody likes that.
I think that's a fair criticism.
Or like you walk into a dungeon, I'm level 80 and the 72 is just soloing everything at 1,000,000 miles an hour.
Well, that's a bug
That's
issue.
a
balancing
thing.
is-
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
they
fucked.
fixed that.
No, they're not going to fix
entirely.
it.
They didn't fix it entirely.
And they can
Well,
never fix
It's
it.
been this way
completely.
for every expansion where
Yeah,
The trade-off
lower
is-
levels are stronger.
Well, the trade-off for that is that we get to play with friends who are low levels. I'll take that over the strength of 72s
Yeah, I don't have an
over my
issue
80,
with that.
right? Because at the end of the day, it's a regular dungeon. Who cares, right?
Well, if they're going to balance it, like do that. Don't
no, but
make
it's,
it
it's
so
hard to
that the low
balance it
levels,
because like there's this exponential rate. You can't
I'm
flip
not
it on
gonna
its
accept
head.
that we can't do math well,
I mean,
so
it's
it's
like
hard to
you're doing a
balance.
dungeon with somebody who's level 10 and they only
it's
have
too
one button.
complicated. It's not we can't do it well. It's that it takes a supercomputer to do it well.
I don't have too much of a gripe with that. I can kind of get behind some of the stuff you're saying, but like that stuff doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
Balancing, I guess. Who cares if the level 72 guy is crushing?
But I said all that just really to set up the idea that I think early access is good because it really kind of, well, one, it filtered in people not all at once, which is always good, right?
Yeah.
Because even if you didn't start at early access on that Thursday night or whatever it was, like you're like, oh, but on the weekend I can play, and that's cool too. And so they start on a Friday, and some start on Saturday. And it wasn't as many people as I guess they were anticipating, or not anticipating, but maybe we the people anticipated, because I thought everyone would have had early access. But I love that it is taking a little bit of time. I don't want to feel rushed. I had the opportunity as someone who didn't play early access and barely played the first week, that I was able to catch back up by doing the grind that I would always do. And not only that, but technically, like we always talk about this, like, wouldn't it be nice to say, okay, well, I did 2 to 3 hours of WoW. Let's go play a game of Dota. Let's go do something else that isn't consuming my life. Dratnos made the point that it does suck that there's not this feeling of going to bed thinking about WoW and waking up and wanting to play WoW, right?
Yeah.
But
That's true. That is true.
But I kind of, I think season 1 will figure that in. But I also
I
kind
already
of still
do
feel
that.
like I already am doing that. I do still think
I
about,
definitely was feeling that way when I was working my way through the story and stuff. But I think it's healthy to not
yeah.
do that.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
and
No
we're
one
all
here is
getting
trying to be healthy.
getting quite a bit out of
know.
it. It's still, and season
MMOs
1 will be
are not for
exactly
the
where we wanted to
healthy.
be.
I got plenty out
Season
of it.
one
I got
will be
more than I
win.
wanted. They've set the expectations so fucking low that a softball would have knocked it out of the park, right? Like, so I'm happy. Again, I'll stick with I'll give it the 9
Okay.
just for the alt shit.
Well,
you know?
I'd like to say I don't mind the fact of early access. I just wouldn't. I understand Scrap's point, but like I personally wouldn't pay $20 purely for early
Just that,
access.
You would if we were all playing it, dude. Frank, how much would
No.
you have paid to play with us?
I wouldn't, because I
don't think I would have cared as
listening
much
to
if it was
griping.
just early access, but knowing that I was gone for that whole like 10 days was
Frank,
killing
be
me.
real. The FOMO you felt, how much
Bro
would you
came
have
home
paid
early,
to
man.
kick
What are you
that?
talking about?
Technique. I didn't
It's
come
like,
home early.
I gotta get some
That was
game
a-
time in.
That was a joke technique. I didn't come home early.
like,
I'll
"Oh,
tell
my
you.
family
I'll tell you
just
why
watched
I'm not so worried about it, because like that Thursday we landed in Toronto and it wasn't like a big night. We just had dinner, and I was going to fire up my laptop, but I was just like, And I actually, in fairness, a lot of it was me thinking there'd be a bunch of like disconnects and it's not worth it.
And it was worth it. It was worth it.
No,
dude.
it wasn't. I only played for 15 minutes and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to bed. I would have felt so much more different if it was only the 3 days, because I would be like, okay, whatever. It was the fact that I was like missing out on leveling. Everyone was level 80 by the time I even started, you know?
You know what, Frank? You might have felt differently if the opener was better, but the Dalaran opening was just not that hype.
It was
Like-
the fact that it was spoiled. Like I already knew what was going to happen. If it was completely surprised, yes, I probably would have felt differently. All right.
Okay.
Let's put a bow on this. We got a whole nother episode with a whole bunch of topics for later in the week that we will stagger into my vacation.
We're gonna do another one this week.
Well, it'll air later, but yes, we will record. I'm gonna put it
Behind
in the
the
oven a little
curtain.
longer. Yeah. Just one more time, we've got, well, not one more time, first time of the night, mythicdungeonleague.com. Come find our Discord, come find our Twitch stream, which, by the way, we will start streaming again now that there's actual stuff to do. So we will have the raid on Tuesday. We'll have M0s to start with. I will obviously have a gap on my vacation, but then we'll be hitting streaming really hard with our IO race. And of course, you can follow us on Twitter, League Mythic. And I want to remind everyone one more time that we have Keystone Kindergarten that is launched on YouTube. So search for those when you're starting your M0s and not understanding why bosses are doing different mechanics. I know Scrap always tells me she's going to watch them, but
No, I am going to watch them. I'm going to watch them.
All she does is she just ridicules and mocks me by saying, "Oh, you didn't watch the Keystone Kindergarten?" When she dies
it's
every
a joke every time.
It's just the bit.
It's already the line, yeah.
Always for the bit.
What'd you call me? And I just want to say thank you for everyone who's been patient on our break. I have gotten a lot of messages saying where the hell's the next episode. We will be more regular now after my vacation again, which we'll make one a little longer for you guys to have next week. Until then, thank you for sticking it out. We will see y'all in the next episode.
Bye-bye.